Hi everyone, Niamh here, and today I'm going to talk about my JLPT experience. So yeah, I'm going to make this for various social media sites. So on Instagram, I'm going to have to split it up, and so when this little video ends, just swipe it to the next part, and hopefully with all the others like Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, I can just leave it one long video, but we'll see how that goes. I've been studying Japanese for about 2 years now, and so when registration opened in August, I initially thought I was going to sign up for the Boston JLPT, the one that they were holding there, because Boston's about an hour away from me, so it was the closest thing, and I assumed that's what I would do. However, on registration day, I went to go sign up for the Boston one, and it had filled up within minutes because it's a big city, and yeah, so it filled up like immediately within a few minutes. So I was actually initially quite distraught because I was like, what am I going to do? But thankfully, the US opened another location in Vermont for the JLPT, which is about a 3-hour drive for me. So yeah. And so I signed up and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And there we go. So yeah, so my husband did drive me, and that was great. And the entire car ride there, I was a nervous wreck. I was so scared. I was so worried that I was going to mess this up, and like that everything I'd studied was going to go right out the window. I took tons of practice tests for all of like November. I felt pretty prepared for it, but at the same time, you know, test anxiety, I was very, very nervous. So for the entire car ride there, I took another practice test, and these practice tests, I've been kind of averaging about 75%, as high as about 87, 88%, and then there was one that I failed, so but all of the tests I seemed to get about a 75, so I was pretty confident that I would do well. And then when we got to our hotel, we went and we had a really nice dinner. We went to this restaurant called Two Brothers Tavern, I think it's called, and it was amazing. It was we ordered the PEI mussels for an appetizer, and they were the best mussels I've ever had in my life. Oh my god, they were so good. It was so good that we ordered extra bread to soak up the broth that it was in. It was so good. So yeah, can't recommend that restaurant enough. It was so good. So if you're ever in Middlebury, Vermont, definitely check out Two Brothers Tavern. So that night I did more studying. I didn't want to do another practice test, but I did more studying and just trying to remember grammar rules, trying to remember vocab, things like that. Went to sleep, kind of had it wasn't as restful as I would hope. I was tossing and turning a little bit, and waking up a few times just thinking, you know, with that test anxiety. And we ended up waking up at about 5 a.m., which sounds like super, super early, but we're actually kind of morning people, so it was earlier than we normally get up. I think we normally get up closer to 6, and I did another practice test. So I wanted to, you know, we had several hours until the JLPT, so I wanted to take another test. So once we got to Middlebury College, I was pretty nervous. I wasn't as nervous as I was the day before, but I was pretty nervous, but ready to get this started, get it done, you know. And funny thing, I was reading in the pamphlet, you know, that, you know, if your bag makes any sort of noise whatsoever during the test, like your phone rings or bleeps or bloops or whatever, you're like immediately disqualified and escorted out of the room. And it was like, oh my gosh, so I was really anxious about that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave my phone in the car, and so I don't have to worry about it at all. But even then, I was still like, is my bag gonna make a noise? So even though there was nothing in there that would, I just, you know, And, but I kind of wish I had my phone on me because one, I forgot to check what room I was supposed to be in, which was in, my information sheet, which is on my phone. So that was kind of funny. And I had to, ask someone. I saw a young woman, kind of showing other people where their rooms were. And then I was like, oh, can you tell me where my room is? And thankfully she was in the same room as me. So I was like, okay, I'll follow you. and I also kind of wish I had my phone for during the breaks in between the tests. It would have been nice to just have the time on me. I know a lot of people say to bring a watch, but I don't have a watch. My watch is on my phone. So it would have been nice to have that. And I kind of had to rely on other people's timekeeping methods to keep track of that. Part one of the test is the vocab and like kanji reading. That test was so easy. Oh my gosh, the first section was so easy. We were given 20 minutes to complete that part, and I was done within 5 minutes. Like once it started, I was like, I've breezed through that. Like when I finished, I looked around and I was by far the first one done. And I was like, damn, maybe I should have taken the N4. So yeah, like the first part was like super easy for me. And I even went through and double checked all my answers, made sure that I was good with everything. And once I was sure that I closed my booklet, and it was nearly 15 minutes left on the clock. And I sat there and I meditated for a little bit and just calm my nerves. We had a 15-minute break. Then when we came back, we did part number 2, and this one was grammar and reading comprehension. Yeah, this part definitely humbled me a bit more, because the first part I was like, I was feeling on top of the world, like I'm doing so well. And then the second part, I got a little more humbled and like, all right, maybe I couldn't have done the N4, or maybe I could have, I don't know. But I think I got probably a 70% on that one, not sure. There were definitely more questions that I wasn't quite sure about. So then we had another 15-minute break, and then was the third part, and this was the listening part, and this was the part that I was the most scared about, because it's the hardest part for me. They give so much information during this listening part, and there's only like one little part that you gotta like really latch onto. It goes by so fast. Like when I was doing my practice tests, I would have to replay the sound clips like a couple times, like 2, maybe even 3 times before I felt confident about my answer. I found out like just a few days before the test that you only get to hear the sound clip once, and I was just like, oh no. So I tried to study that, like tried to really study listening to questions or the passage to be able to answer it in one go. And yeah, and my practice on that was hit or miss. Like sometimes I did well, and then other times I really didn't. This was the one I was the most worried about. Yeah, and it was definitely difficult. The first part, I aced it. I'm not going to say I got every one of them correct, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did. Maybe I missed a couple, because there were a couple that I wasn't 100% sure on, but then the second one, like I said, I think I got about a 70%. And the third part, the listening, I have no idea. There were a few questions that I got, like, I was confident on, and then there was a good chunk where it was, maybe it's this one, but I'm giving it my best shot. I think it's this one, but I could easily be wrong. A good handful of questions that I didn't know, and so I've got to just pick one, you know? So I'm incredibly worried about that. I hope I passed. And if I fail, it'll be because of that listening section. Because the first 2 sections, I totally passed. I have absolutely no doubt. I definitely passed the first 2 sections. it's that third section, that listening section, that, oh my gosh, I have no idea. And if I pass that third section, I think it's barely. Yeah, I'm not as confident with that one. And you've got to pass all 3 sections to pass the test overall. So we'll wait and see. I won't get my results until I think like February, end of January, sometime in February. I'm taking the whole month of December off from studying. I'm still going to do things like Duolingo and maybe reading my manga a little bit. Yeah, so I'm basically just going to do that, maybe pop in on Wanikani a little bit, but I'm not going to do any actual serious study for the month of December, and I'll start picking that up in January. As for whether I'll take the N4 next year, maybe I think I want to just see what I got on this test and see if I passed the N5, and if I did, then maybe I will do the N4 in December. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!